One of the top questions we get asked when people come to us looking to set up a new engagement platform is, how do I know what I'm doing is going to work? What they really want to know is, how am I not going to waste money? It's an important question. In today's video, I'm going to break down how to choose incentives that will motivate people to engage and practically guarantee your success. And the cool part is, incentives don't always cost you an extra investment of money, if you know what to look for. Hello everyone, my name is Brett Tadlock, and I'm the Engagement and Content Manager for NextB.com. We're the #1 provider of engagement platforms for nearly the past decade. I'm going to give you some direct insights on what's worked for our hundreds of clients that range everywhere from doctor's offices to Netflix. So let's get started. In order to choose the correct incentives, the ones that will actually engage your target users, you have to have a key point that you know, and that's who are your target users. Now, that may seem obvious, but in our near decade of working with people, we found quite a few companies just come up with ideas. Throw something out there and hope somebody will catch it and end up wasting a huge amount of time and effort and money. So slow down, back up, start with the basics. Who will be using your program? Will it be employees? Will it be buyers? Will it be both? Once you've figured out the general who, you need to really figure out who they are. The best way to do that is by using buyer or employee profiles. With profiles, you can answer questions like, what motivates them to interact with your company in the first place? Oh, and for employees, it's not just a paycheck. There are reasons they're staying on board, and you need to know what those are. Otherwise, you're going to lose them. So another question would be, what would they actually like and use in the way of rewards? Would it be gift cards, cash, swag, or intangibles like kudos, or having donations made to a charity, etc.? Don't know the answers to those questions? Then again, we need to back up and look at their profiles. For ease of conversation, I'm going to talk about buyers. But if you're looking for an employee program, all the tactics still apply. Just every time I say buyer, replace it with employee. So, who is your optimal buyer? What does their profile tell you? There's a lot you can learn from it, but what if you don't have a buyer profile for your company? Or what if you're missing something from it? Let's start there, but let's define a few things first. So what is a buyer profile? A buyer profile is a semi-fictional representation of your ideal customer. It's based on market research and real data about your existing customers. The reason you need a buyer profile is because a buyer profile provides structure and context for your company. It makes it easier to decide upon content, incentives, and figure out where to allocate team resources. Overall, it helps with any engagement and aligns your efforts for the entire company. So how do you go about creating a buyer profile? Well, you're going to create it by learning about your ideal customer, their challenges, their goals, their demographic information, and so on. By reviewing it, you can create a strategy aimed at attracting the most valuable visitors, leads, and customer based on your business. So let's go over 2 simple steps to create a buyer profile. So step 1, define you, your company. The first step is defining who you are as a company. You may have a very clear understanding of who your company is, but it's vital to write it out to make sure everyone on your team is clear and can easily reference it. Doing so helps gain understanding and creates alignment within your company once everything is clearly defined and documented. Some questions to ask can include, what are our perceived strengths and weaknesses? What are our key systems and capabilities? Basically, the goal is to mine the main pieces of information that make your company unique. This will guide not only the content positioning for your overall marketing and sales activities, but it'll help make sure any incentives that you offer are not out of character for your company and don't cause confusion. For example, let's say you're a boat company and you're offering free lawn care for clients that send you a referral, it doesn't really go together. But a boat company that offers discounts on docking fees or off-season storage of equipment or coupons for supplies and equipment, stuff like that, now you're in line with your company, and that's going to build loyalty and referrals. Step 2, define your buyers. Next, we want to document who your buyers are. You want to do that by using data from current sales, social media interaction, discussing the interactions marketing and sales department have had, etc. So an example framework to follow would be something similar to this. What size is their company? The number of employees, the revenue, customers, etc. Which industry verticals are they in? What geographic locations have generated the most sales? Do they make purchases by impulse? What are their goals and motivations for buying? What challenges, pain points, etc. do you solve? What's proven the best way to communicate with them? What's that been? Then consider if any other attributes might be valid for making up your ideal buyer. Things like where do they hang out? What do they read, both online and offline? What do they do to search for, when they're online? Where are they searching? What are they searching for? Oh, and B2B companies should also think about, typical roles and titles of those who buy. Will they need approval by a committee before making any kind of purchases? How will variables like supplier diversity affect their vendor selection process? Do they seek out referrals, etc.? And now that you have a clear picture of who the clients are for your company and understand their pain points, their motivations, and how they make purchasing decisions, you can choose the right messaging, actions, and rewards that will get them to engage with you and refer others, which leads to our next step. So the next step is developing an engagement platform and choosing incentives. By this point, we've gathered a lot of information. We can now develop the overall structure and incentives that are needed for engaging more clients and getting them to refer others to you, others who are likely to become customers. You can now create the right activities with the right motivational content, along with incentives that will actually excite your users to participate. Kind of like my boat example from earlier, everything will be aligned. Once you get started, you can then use analytics about your initial offerings to know if the program participants need the rewards or participation tweaked. Do they need role-specific rewards, POS referral codes, printable vouchers, GDPR-compatible options, etc.? Are some rewards getting more traction than others? Are there any users that are going stale? You should really be able to dig into the analytics and quickly adjust everything easily. Now you're really starting to hone in on what incentives work, which ones likely do not, and you can continue to adjust and refine your offering. Yeah, it's a lot of work, and there are still many variables. If you'd like to shortcut some of these steps and streamline the process, or if you just need to consult with an engagement platform pro like one of us, grab time on our calendar. The link's below. We'll use our nearly decade of experience to help make sure you're asking the right questions and are on the right track for using your information and therefore creating a program that's virtually guaranteed to succeed. Now, here's a cool thing. Each of our engagement programs comes with a dedicated account manager who can help you organize, develop, and implement an engagement program for building loyalty, garnering referrals, and so much more. We work hand in hand with you to get you up and running with the best practices. We'll help you bring your engagement program to life so you can maximize your marketing efforts and drive sales and results. I hope you've learned something from this quick tip video, and make sure to like, subscribe, and share it with others that need to learn it too. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below and we'll get back to you as soon as we can.